Peace, beloved, peace. It's your homie, Young Content, the unofficial sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness and contentment and NFTs. And we have a very, 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 very special guest in the house. This is NFT Guru Talk and Chill, number 24. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. But we have the equivalent, maybe, DCL blogger, a futurist, a friend of NFTs, a companion, a thought leader. Shout out to the gurus and shout out to you, DCL. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Dude, we are super excited to have you on the floor. We go way back 2018. We're gonna have to break the ice on that. But how you doing, Walsh?
Sorry, buddy. I had to unmute myself. I'm doing great, Young. Thanks for having me back on the show, and it's super exciting to be able to be here with someone like Maddie today to have a conversation with you and the boys. Really appreciate it.
Let's go. DeadStock, what's up, buddy?
Man, another beautiful day.
Nice background, dude.
I appreciate it. Shout out Metakey, Marco Matic, and of course, another day, another work day, and made sure I was ready for for you gentlemen. And so, very looking forward to the conversation and spending time with you guys.
Sweet. Always happy to have you. The Shakespearean man himself, JeremyStormSky, what up?
How we doing, guys? I could tell you the forecast for the NFT future is looking bright and beautiful. Had some really interesting calls this week, and we got some really cool technology coming down the pipeline, guys. Happy to jump into it with y'all, and welcome to the show, Maddie. Happy to be here.
Sweet. DCL, how's your day? What time is it over there? You're constantly on Twitter. You're making great content. You got an army behind you. How's your day going so far?
Day has just started, actually. It's 8 a.m. in the morning, nice and fresh. Melbourne looking cold, but that's our everyday these days. Looking ahead, gonna do maybe another podcast. Really looking forward to this one, and then connecting back with the Metakey team to see what they're up to for today.
That's righteous.
Cool building, yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of us want. I'm pretty sure everyone has already told you this joke already that you minted a new baby. I don't want to overuse it, but congratulations on your new life you bought in. That's huge, and we all celebrate that. So I know. How's that make you feel?
It made me feel good. I haven't dealt with it until the day of my wife having that baby. I remember people asking me like, "How do you feel having a baby soon?" Honestly, it didn't hit me until having it. And then dealing with it for the last two weeks and how it affects my schedule and work and all that. It's been interesting realizations in the sense of I thought I would be a little bit less work obsessed. I'd be like, oh, there's a new baby. I have, switch focus in life, but not. I'm still pretty NFT obsessed. I don't know if it's the power of the industry or what it is, but it's been good, man. It's been beautiful, a blessing. And spending time with my baby and work, it's nice. It's a nice balance.
Dude, I got to tell you a story. We're going to open up with story time. The reason why I got in NFTs, homies, is because of this man. I saw something about a video he made on YouTube of Gods Unchained. Broke kid coming out of a pyramid scheme. And I'm like, hey, I need to get into this stuff. It's the future. Aped all my money into it. And I know you probably did too, Maddie. But yeah, Gods Unchained. Then I saw about Decentraland pick me up some parcels on Fashion Street because of the video I saw of you. You were like, the ones that are on the parcels in the mainland are the good ones on the district. I picked me up a Fashion Street. I ended up losing it because I lost my seed phrase. But yeah, man, I got to thank you for that. Are you still in those projects? Nice. I just had Chris Clay on the show 2 days ago. And nice. Those are the OG ones, and I owe it to you, so thank you.
Wow, Chris Clay is a big pull. How's he going for Gods Unchained?
He's still bullish. He's super excited to release the Gods token.
Yeah.
He's so egalitarian in his thought process. We talked about what he loves to do. Trying to create a great work environment, not a toxic work environment. And he's leading the charge. He has a good team over there.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of these projects that I was involved with, I am still involved with in the sense of as an investor or just having them on my radar and doing things with. I think for me in the first 2 years, it was a lot about investing. Now it's a lot about building and taking those investments further, which comes with a lot of participating in what the products have to offer, whether it be building on those lands and collaborating and connecting an NFT marketplace to a fungible, a crypto token and a community and all these moving parts and how they work together. So although it may look like I've dropped back, I've kind of just re-strategized and trying to work them all into the power play of a more holistic approach.
Dude, I know you probably were nervous to think, I know I was, with just 2 parcels. What am I going to do with all this land? Who am I going to hire to build this world that I'm trying to create? Now that you have Metakey, I think you're just, you Metakey, everyone's super excited. We're going to kind of discuss that, just a bunch of different layers of your life. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to ask, Maddie, what do you love to do? I always ask all my guests on the show first, before anything, what do you love to do?
I'm pretty business obsessed, man. I love growth. I love business. I love making money, connecting to communities, seeing them grow, seeing how that influences financial return. I'm all about that investment, right? And I remember when I started with crypto, it was all about just throwing it in there. I didn't even know what the tech was, seeing it go up. And then I learned what NFTs was. And then now it's, the wealth for a lot of us has been quite well in the last 6 months or 12 months for those that have been in the crypto space. So now it's a bit more of dropping back and just having fun with it more, rather than try to, not say chase that money, but always trying to find where the money's at. It's more like, oh, well, how does this fit into what you like to do?
Wow.
I like to play games every now and then, although I haven't played games for a very long time. I used to play Dota 2, Super Smash Brothers,
Are you a big
Pokemon,
COD fan?
all
You
that
a
stuff.
FPS kind of guy, or?
I used to play it a little bit, not these days, man. No, I'm not as big of a COD fan than I was Warcraft.
Who'd you play in Smash, Maddie? Who was your go-to?
I used to play Sheik, Zelda Sheik.
Sheik.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, you slippery worm.
Damn,
You. I was more of a Toon Link guy myself.
Nice. Yeah, my friend had Link for a very long time, and then I used to have Luigi, and then I was like, man, this guy's way too slow, so then I had to switch it up and get Sheik, and then I started beating him.
Dude, watch Maddie in the next year when he has all this like I don't know, man. You probably be a champion one day if you just focus, take all that money, focus on Super Smash. Probably a champ.
Maybe. But I actually bought a Super Smash Brothers a Wii for the office, and now we all play Smash Brothers in the Metakey office. There's like 5 of us.
Wow.
Where can I find a boss
That's
like
so
you?
cool.
Yeah.
One thing I love about you, Maddie, a lot is that you humanize the space a lot. You humanize Twitter in a very organic way. You feel like you're eye level with people. I think that's something you've always had inside you. You've always been eye level. So even if you're after the bag, you've always been a man of the people. Speaking of that, I wanted to talk about the Metakey, because all these avatars are coming in left and right. They're anticipating the Metaverse. And I'm going to have DeadStock, because I honestly need a Metakey. All right, Maddie? Sorry. I need a Metakey. I'm going to buy one ASAP. I owe it to you in general, but I'm not as well versed as these gurus around me. So I'm going to pass it off to DeadStock, and we're going to learn. You're going to teach me about the Metakey. All right, DeadStock? Okay?
I mean, I feel like you know what the Metakey is, and but the reason I got into the Metakey and what really drew me into it is a lot of times we're having these conversations about NFTs and the utility of this stuff moving forward. And so what I really appreciated about it was the fact that you wanted to create a single NFT and really create a ton of utility around it, whether it's airdrops like the Alice in Wonderland that you did, or exclusives, or where we're eventually going to be having education. And so it really just drew me in. And I love the Marco-Matic one. I was watching the Metakey, and honestly, I didn't get the edition 1 or 2, but I was keeping my eye on it. And when the Marco-Matic came out, I said, this is a must-have. So I was like, it was basically a culmination of me just following it. And I like to snipe stuff. So usually I'll follow a project if I don't jump into it right away. But it really spoke to me. So I really enjoyed getting it, and it's meant a lot. So with the Metakey, what I've noticed with you guys recently is we're starting to see where a lot of people who have it, they appreciate it, even though there are some flippers. One, we got the unique ownership of it is large, which is immense. I like how we're starting to even see how you're growing out now with the new website. I saw that you brought the blog over to Medium now. So maybe if you could, Maddie, just speak on the Metakey, on like where we're going with it, and where you guys are at, and what your thoughts are on it.
Sure, man. I'd love to. So the Metakey, just a quick synopsis, is one, very difficult to explain because it's so complicated and it's so broad, really not complicated, just broad. But basically, an NFT that we're going to work to bring a lot of utility to it, and that doesn't mean just airdrops. It also means integrating it into games. So you take it into Decentraland, it might open a door to a club, or it might turn into a pet or something in a different game. So there's all these things we can do with NFT technology, and the Metakey is the concept of if you just purchase something once, you shouldn't need to purchase things multiple times after. So that's the concept. And I remember when we started, it was just an idea, and we put up a landing page, and we're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to work or how this resonates with people. We launched it. Within 14 minutes, we sold out our first edition, which I remember just pressing the launch, just launch on Twitter, and then just seeing like the pings come in on Discord and looking at that number and being like, holy shit, we're going to sell out in 15 minutes. And then we launched the second one. And that actually took 45 days to sell, which was a good thing, because I think what happens at the start of many NFT projects is that at the start, you get a lot of people just wanting to buy and flip, which is fine, right? That's the nature
you tweeted
of the space,
about this yesterday. You tweeted about this yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, I don't like
Yeah,
flippers.
yeah.
Sorry, I just said that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, but like the nature of the space is that it makes so much money that you just can't. The flippers are going to be here, right? It's exciting. It's a thrill, and I understand that. But the first one took 15 minutes. The second one actually took 45 days because people were like, "Oh, there's not much volume here. It's not selling out as quickly as I want to." So it actually attracted people interested in building with us. So that 45 days gave us a month and a half to build out the value proposition, to build out our idea and communicate what it is and do some test airdrops and get people pretty excited about the project. And then the third edition actually sold out in 20 minutes after we released it. So it's really interesting to see that, because in between that, after a month and a half, 2 months, we, I guess, showed that we are a legit project, which allowed the third edition to sell quite faster than the second edition. So it's been exciting. We're building it, and there's so much to come. We're doing if you think Alice in Wonderland is big, there's stuff in the works that's just at like tier 1 brand level. Coca-Cola just announced a partnership with Decentraland. We're seeing if we can tap into some of that.
Holy
but on
moly.
that same level, we're doing all sorts of, we're doing things on that level with other brands and stuff like that. So
Jeremy, before you get to your question for Maddie, I wanted to ask.
I wonder.
Would you feel, Maddie, like this Metakey is your purpose? Like, were you trying something else before, or do you feel like you really stumbled on your purpose with Metakey?
Yeah, man, I feel like I did. I felt like, I came from the old school of thought of making money online, which is a lot to do with creating a blog, creating content, selling products, e-commerce, affiliate marketing. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that sort of an early space in online, making money online. So when I came to this new space, I remember when I first started with Decentraland, I started making some money, and then straight away I put out a course out there. I was like, oh, selling a course for $300. And then I was like, oh, this just feels weird. It doesn't feel like this belongs in this space, right? And so I just pulled back completely everything, and then I just stayed in NFT investing, and then continued content creating and all that sort of stuff. But I never felt like I could release an NFT. I was like, if I was to put my name behind something, I need to know what I'm doing, one, and I need to confidently put it out there so that my face can be shown, and I can bring value to it in the way that I want to. So this is really cool. Like, the Metakey allows me to bring my whole network and my whole connections and everyone that knows me, anyone that comes knocking on my door and says, hey, Maddie, I'm, Elon Musk, and I want to learn about the NFT space. I'm like, that's cool, man. You need to give something to my Metakey people if you want to, I'm happy to do something for you. I'm happy to do your YouTube stuff. Don't pay me anything. Just do something for the Metakey people. So it connects those two worlds.
Love.
And then it also allows me to explore the technology. It allows me to explore Decentraland and Somnium space and all these new things, and then connect it in ways that are fun. And it also makes money, right? It also monetizes my content. It also monetizes my effort in spending freaking hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on YouTube and Twitter. It allows that to be worth it financially. So it just puts all of these things together where it does feel like it's my purpose. Yeah.
Jeremy, you had something to say? That's beautiful because, yeah, I'm fully support that.
Well, I mean, like first of all, like, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being in this space for a little bit longer. It's like you get to kind of test the waters, and it's kind of about like a beautiful thing about life in general. Like, how many times are you in college and somebody changes their major 2 or 3 times? It's because you're kind of feeling things out and finding where you belong. And then when you finally find where you belong, you could really like pull the trigger and like rip face. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's what I encourage everybody to do in the space. First of all, it's like find where you belong, like test the waters, figure it out. But like once you find that space, like just make it your home, you know? So I really appreciate that perspective there, Maddie. But kind of circling back to like the second edition of the Metakey, I think there's like an interesting mechanic that might have happened there as well, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it. And I think like in the second Metakey also taking longer to sell out, it also made it more decentralized in a way because you didn't just have a whale coming in and scooping up, 500 Metakeys or something like that. And that's one thing I find really interesting about the Metakey and, talking with Ego and like kind of the way he strategizes with things. You do have one of the more decentralized NFT projects in the entire space, which in crypto, that's incredibly important. So I guess like, does that moving forward into the future, does that decentralization like play into your thought process? And like, I guess like the question here, it's like, I would also argue you're one of the more interoperable assets in the ecosystem. So how do you just kind of plan on keeping that going and keeping it decentralized? And would just love to hear some thoughts on that.
It's interesting you brought that up because we were thinking about that the other day. We honestly are blown away by the statistics showing us that there's multiple unique holders to the degree of over 90% in some cases. I think edition 1 or edition 2 is like, I think very close to 90 or above 90% unique wallet holders. That's crazy. So that opens the door for us to play with governance, to be honest. It allows us to be confident in, to me, like DAOs and governance and using fungible tokens, 10,000 mana, 1,000,000 mana to cast votes. Sounds good in theory, but obviously it leads to whale-dominated votes, right? So to me, part of the fun in experimenting as well with the Metakey is like, okay, well, how do we make a fair governance? So I think what I'm trying to do is I'm talking to our developer and I'm seeing if we can make a Discord bot where we can vote based on which gen we have, because we give these gen 1, 2, and 3 different roles, right? If we can vote based on those roles, and that vote gives us maybe a little bit of a bonus based on which gen you have, maybe a 1.5 if you have gen 1, 1.3 if you have gen 2, etc. But because it's so well distributed and the ownership is so well decentralized, will it allow us to govern fairly? Like, will people be feeling like they're part of the governance process more than they felt with Decentraland? I remember with Decentraland, a lot of people were like, great, we can all vote, but some whale can just come with like 2 million mana, 5 million mana and just overshadow all of us. So to us, it's kind of, playing with governance and then seeing how much of the community can take a lead, because, governance and decentralizing aspects allows the community to take charge. And if we can unlock that for the community to take charge and be part of it more than we as a core team are, then that's the golden thing, right? That's what you want to do at the end of the day for any of these projects.
See, that's super interesting because I think there's a few hype words in crypto, and one of those hype words is a DAO. One of those hype words might be like a creator coin or like even a social coin, and then like the metaverse and interoperability. And I think you're kind of like touching upon all three of those things in a very organic and like natural way of building upon them, because you just touched upon the DAO, like with the creator coin and social coin. Like this is a very loose and sloppy like a comparison, but like it's almost like the Metakey is a social token or a creator coin in yourself. And like you said earlier, like if you want me to do something for you, like you have to add value to like our brand. So you're kind of like testing out the waters in that way, so like it seems like you're building a lot of these crypto principles and philosophies out in a very natural and organic way that we haven't seen yet. So I would love to see what lessons we actually extract from the Metakey in the future when we look back on this time in history. It looks like you're building out a really beautiful chapter, I guess, in the crypto book,
Yeah, and
I'm blessed. I'll be honest.
Go ahead,
Now,
man.
just
Sorry.
quickly about to say, I'm blessed to have a community that supports me and that trusts me. And I'm honored that when I jump onto calls like this and other ones, I was on Elliott Trades the other day, and every now and then I'm on another call, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, we got a Metakey," and I'm like, "Holy shit, you have a Metakey?" And it's just mind blowing to me who has them, and like how diverse the space is. And they may not check in every now and then, but hey, they've got one, and they're keeping up with the project. I remember I talked to Animoca Brands, so Yat from Animoca Brands, I was in touch with him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I have a Metakey," and I was, again, I just feel blessed to be in the space and be trusted by so many people.
We love the Metakey. We love the Metakey, bro.
Dude, DeadStock, I'm gonna let, I know DeadStock has something on the tip of his tongue, but I wanted to say, who are you most surprised that has a Metakey? I know Gary V probably does, and I know you have a great relationship with him. Or how's that relationship with Gary and the Metakey, if that even exists?
Yeah, I don't know if Gary has one. I hope he does.
He should. Gary,
I don't have one of his. I don't have one of V friends, but I'm in touch with Gary. I think we just vibe a lot on the same sort of thinking. I remember the first time he reached out to me, I was just like, "Holy shit, what the heck?" Gary V just reached out. I remember being on the phone with a friend of mine and just being like, "Dude, I have to go," and I just like put the phone down, and then I was just talking to Gary because Gary was like, "Hey, what's your number? I'd like to talk." I was like, "What do you mean? Like, this is so out of the blue." Anyway, it was fun, and then I remember catching up with him, and he was just like, "Oh, this NFT space is cool. It's wicked. What do you think? This is what I'm doing." And he was telling me a bit about V Friends and I guess bouncing ideas with each other a bit. And that's where we kind of vibed on utility. And he was like, "Oh, I think it's about access. I think the NFT is about access and utility and doing a lot from the creator front." And that's at the same time when I was coming up with the Metakey. And so I think we're building our own projects, but at some stage, building a project is very, very time consuming at the start, because you have ideas and you have a vision, but you don't have a process with your team. So you get your team, 3 to 5 people, you hire in stages, and then you build a process so that each one knows what they're doing, each one is confident knowing what they're doing, each one, maybe they don't come from an NFT background, you bring them into the background. So there's a 1 or 2 months, not lost, but there's that time you have to take into account. So Metakey being 3 months old, and I think V Friends being around 3 to 4 months old as well, both of us. I think now we're getting to a stage where we're kind of pulling back a little bit. We're finding our groove, and at some stage we may connect. But yeah, definitely in touch with Gary V. I'm sure we can do something with the Metakey. So,
dude, be ready to fly to New York, bro. He's gonna have you there, and he's gonna handshake your hand, and it's gonna be cool. He's gonna fly you right to his office. It's gonna be funny. DeadStock, what are you gonna say? You had a question?
No, I mean, I really didn't have a question or anything, but since we're all talking about like the relationships and really with you diving a little deeper on the fact of where Jeremy bringing everything full circle about how there's a lot of people just using the same words, utility and interoperability and all this stuff, but you see the teams that are really delivering and really building something out and building the structure, the skeleton of what their plan is, and looking like they're really going to be able to deliver. And obviously it catches my ears when you're talking about, with Coca-Cola doing a partnership with Decentraland, and how eventually those type of partnerships are connecting in the Elon Musk comment that you made where like, yeah, I'm not looking for anything personally for me, but what you could deliver is value back to the community that I'm building right now. And what I'm big on is like the mental game on people in the background and building out stuff. So could you talk about the mental game and like overcoming hurdles and that type of stuff with building out something as what you're doing right now?
Yeah, because I'm in a fog right now and I can't break it. Maybe you can help me break it, DCL.
Meditate. No, I'm just kidding.
Meditate's key, yeah.
Do you mean mentally as in my personal hurdles?
Just the mental game and like your approach and coming out to going more specifically, when you're coming across barriers, like when you have an idea to do something and then you're finally getting to like a certain thing and you have to build that bridge, like what's your mindset going into that, and maybe even like an example of what something might have happened.
My mindset is let my curiosity and me being interested into things be organic. Like if I feel it's not organic and it's there for the money, I know that I'm not going to stay there for long. But if I feel it's organic and I really love what I'm doing naturally, like I remember when I started with Decentraland, straight away I made a blog, DCLBLOGGER. The whole brand was built because of Decentraland.
Legendary.
And that I loved that part because it wasn't just about the virtual land. It was about making money in the space. of NFTs. So I think that's what I enjoyed, but you know, it became much more than that, because it was, how did I make that money? Virtual land selling and buying, it wasn't as easy as just buying and selling land. It was actually communicating and networking and all that sort of stuff. But the mental barriers and hurdles are always there. Like, I remember when I do my tweets and my threads, or when I'm about to launch a business, I'm like anxious as hell, right? There's so many doubts coming into my mind. Every minute and every second, I'm like, no one's gonna like this. This is, you know, it's probably not gonna work out. You need to change this, you need to change that. I think I learned a very long time ago, like 8 years ago, when I started making YouTube content, that I can just be rugged as hell. I can just you know, make a shit ton of typos in my blog, and people don't care. People will appreciate that you spend some time to do something. And my Twitter threads, that, you know, 80% of the time, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Like, I don't think they're going to be as viral as they end up being, but they do really well. And what I've realized is just people have more faith in you than you sometimes. So you should just keep doing it, right? Just keep going, whether it mean put out a business idea or experiment in here, like, and then through that process, it gave me confidence in myself. And then now it makes me feel pretty confident that I am a smart dude. Like, I do know what's going on. This thread is going to kill it. This business idea is freaking great, right? So I think it started off with me just being like, you know what, I don't care what happens. Let's just put this out there. And then that reaffirmation kind of makes those hurdles a little bit less higher to jump across.
Unapologetically be yourself. I love it.
Yeah, and you killed it with the curiosity. You have to be curious, and I think a lot of us are in this space because we are curious about it and inquisitive, and just finding out more and just jumping in and like you said, jump in and do it, like actually, like we talked about earlier. So
if I could just jump in really quick, Maddie.
Of course, Walsh.
I just wanted to say that I've always been a big proponent of the fact that if you provide the value that people feel as though they've received enough value in their NFT that they could flip it, although they don't want to, because they feel as though there's more value in holding on to that NFT than there is in selling it at that given moment. I think you've done a really spectacular job with that. I'm a huge fan of the community-driven and community-based utility NFTs. The first one that I recall getting was the NFT Guild. I don't know if you know Mondoir, Amir, but he started the NFT Guild.
I think I do. I may have him on Twitter.
Yeah, he's a big collector, mainly art. But anyways, he's getting a little community together called the NFT Guild. And just to kind of spin off of what one of our viewers had kind of asked here in the comments section, and I was wondering it myself, do you have any plans on kind of getting any IRL things involved with Metakey, or is it going to be specifically Metaverse and digital?
Great question.
Man, there's no specifics with the Metakey. The Metakey is an idea. I'm happy to take it wherever the mind wanders. So the real life thing is cool. I'd love to experiment with the real life one, whether it means, you know, being able to maybe access a real door with Metakey and scanning it on your wallet if you have it, whatever it may mean. And I have been in touch with some companies, one that has a lot of esports venues. It's pretty big. And they wanted to see if I can use the Metakey to give them discounts in their esports venue, because it enables them to play around with blockchain, and it enables us to tap into the real venues. So that's there, and I'm totally entertaining that. I think for us at the start, we have our roadmap, which is predominantly virtual. And once that gets rolled out and we start to free up our time or scale up our resources, then yeah, the world's our oyster. We can do anything. Basically, I'm a very experimental guy with blockchain. Whatever you guys are thinking, it's normally a yes, let's do it. It's just more a time thing.
Dude, you really might be the guy who brings in the metaverse with that Metakey, like in Ready Player One, when they had the key that you had to find and you had to open it up. And
dude, that's the goal.
That is sick. I want to touch on that more, but I want to get to the chat real quick, just to say shout out to the chat. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you guys, but we have a fat chat in here. Dead Polaroid, Kitty Pad, Ronan from Lad City. Shout out to the lads. Sunny, Nick Service. Shout out to all you guys. Thanks for coming to NFT Guru Talk and Chill 24. Yeah, I had to talk to the chat. But yeah, man, Ready Player One is something that you've always talked about in your videos, even in the early Decentraland days. And I remember hearing that and just, I had to go watch the movie. And that's something you really taken forward, right? You're literally leading that charge, so to speak. What I see Jimmy from Nameless, and I see you, and it's really, really awesome.
Yeah, look, I'm just experimenting. Like, I'd love to bring that Ready Player One vision more forward. And to do that, we need to kind of unlock people thinking in that space, because like my idea, what I've done, and hopefully what others have done, they compound. So the other project founders that are looking at this, they'll take that idea and take it further, right? And that's that innovation and compound that we get, which will bring us closer to the Ready Player One thing. So that's why I'm just driving utility, and I'm showing that you can do a lot more with like one token. And I believe everything should be connected. I think that's the fun of this space, is that holy shit, you go to this game and you can recognize these people because they have the Metakey, or you can do this because they have the Metakey, or you can go to another game, or you can even go to some website and unlock some data or unlock some courses, who knows. And I just love that thing. And I'm inspired by Ready Player One. I'm not much of a VR person though yet. I just don't think I'm not sure. Like I've tried it a couple of times. It's been a bit heavy and stuff, but I like the concept of being in a space where I've just got all my assets and my friends and my people and my community. So who knows? 10 years from now, we may be there with Metakey.
That's righteous. I know, Jeremy, you have a question. I'm gonna let you ask that, but Metakey needs to be on a Discover card one day. All right, that's all I'll say. Jeremy.
Man, it's not so much a question. It's just like what you were saying there, though, Maddie, like really resonated with me. And I'll make this brief, but like I was talking to another founder the other day, and he was saying what excites him so much about the space is that, in his previous position in developing games and that sort of thing, it was always building upon the shoulders of giants. And he said like that kind of got old after a while. It's like if you're building Call of Duty, if you're trying to build the next Call of Duty, you're building on top of Call of Duty who built upon somebody else, etc., etc., etc. And I think what's so exciting about crypto is we have no shoulders to build upon. Like this is all such new and Wild West territory that we are literally the giants and we are providing the shoulders that will be built upon, So we are like the Metakey is the shoulders of the giant, you know what I mean? And like I think that's one of the little sparks that keeps us going. Like that's the fire underneath our ass, because we are like I said earlier, writing the history books right now. And when somebody looks to do something that's super interoperable with a bunch of different metaverses, they're going to look back on the Metakey. And that's something that inspires me. It's like we could potentially be the giants that people talk about. So it's not a question, but I just think it's something that keeps me going anyways. And just to riff off what you were saying, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, man, I like that's one of the reasons I started the Metakey. I was like, you know what, I'd love to inspire and kind of be something that we're 3 years, 4 years from now, when they talk about utility and something that's really pioneered the space, they hopefully talk about the Metakey. So I think that sort of thing in the history books would be kind of fun for our community, whoever's part of the Metakey. Yeah, vibes.
I guess the question that actually, I guess the question that does come from that, and I get this from a lot of people in the space actually, like including like some of the Delphi founders and myself and my journey. I guess like when you look back on your journey, Maddie, and like you look at where you are today, like do you ever have to like pinch yourself? You know what I mean? Or be like, what the hell is going on? Like how am I in this position? Like do you find that strange? Like do you ever have to like kind of take a double take, or like what's your journey like as far as that goes?
Yeah, man, pinch yourself right now. Make sure you're a real like human. You might be an avatar, bro. Honestly, it's not the meta.
I am. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think my new reality becomes my normality. Like I feel like I reach a level and now that's normal to me. And in the real world, I'm sure some of you guys feel the same. In the digital world, we're buying and selling images for thousands of dollars. In the real world, when we say that stuff, it's so out of whack, it doesn't make sense. But for us, it's just like the norm, right? And some of us have made life-changing money, which in the real world could buy us mansions and things that we would have dreamed of. But we're not doing that. Much of us are spending it back in the NFT space. So it's kind of like what's normal to me has kind of shifted. And I do feel very blessed. Like if I do really think about it, I am very grateful to what it is. But I think a lot of the times I forget that, and then I'm just like, well, this is my new normal, making money at this level, or making moves at this level, or being networked with these sort of people. I think in the early this year, it was like, holy shit, what the heck is going on? Like there's celebs coming into this space. There's big entrepreneurs knocking on my door, wanting to know what's going on. It's big companies and IPs I never would have thought I would have talked about or to. Now it's kind of, it feels a bit normal. It feels a bit more normal. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does. I don't know.
Would you say it's the natural evolution of because I know basically you started towards like end of 2017, 2018, you were in crypto, and then towards the crypto winter, you got into NFTs and you were kind of figuring out where this goes. Would you say it is the natural progression eventually when you spend enough time into something that you go from being, say, a consumer to a creator? Because I know personally when being younger, when I was learning about music, like I just loved it so much that I was like, I just have to make it at this point. Like I've just got into production and I ran a studio. And so would you say that that's kind of like part of your evolution of being in this space at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it could be. I think you're right. I never thought of it that way. But if I think about the reasons I started crypto was to make money, purely to make money. I'm not going to lie and say I loved it for the tech. I didn't even know what the hell
all
tech
of us,
was.
yeah.
But now, yeah, right. And now I think you stay in it for so long, 3 to 4 years, where you kind of see what can be done with the technology. And then you just have this innate desire to experiment and make certain things happen. Like I really wanted Decentraland to talk to crypto voxels and integrate and interop and do all these sort of things. And, you know, it's tough asking that from those companies who have their own roadmap that are still stabilizing their platforms. But for me, it was like, well, why don't I just do it, right? So it came to a point where I was like, this art is cool. I mean, I respect it completely. I respect people collectibles, but no one's really playing with utility. And what am I going to do? Will I wait for that to happen, or can I now, 3 years or 4 years in, who kind of understands the space a little bit better now than I did 4 years ago, kind of do it myself? So that's where I think, yeah, you're right. Naturally, you become a founder or a creator that wants to experiment, and hopefully that experiment leads to, you know, something really big.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I take that into consideration. Being like early too in 2018, like I could have been a real big Decentraland Gods and Chain maximalist, and it was okay to be that in that time because there was nothing else. And now that the space is scaled, you know, I'm looking at Snowonium space and crypto voxels, and I think I'm evolving in that. I think a lot of the people are evolving. It's like we can't be like one-sided because you miss opportunities.
You're right, man.
And I wanted to segue into that. I remember being inside your Discord and learning about Top Shot because of you. People were just chilling in there. And I owe that Discord that knowledge of where it took me. But did you ape into Top Shot, or do you do not have any regrets, or is there something that you probably could have done better or in your journey?
Yeah, I think Top Shot was a big learning curve for me because I have always felt if I don't understand something, it's best not to get into it. Like basketball is something I don't watch. I don't watch basketball. I don't know anything about the sport, right? But that shouldn't stop me to invest and learn about it. If it's going to allow me to invest, let me understand the community better, increase my knowledge in the economics of how the sports industry works with NFTs. There would have been so much good that would have come into that if I just would have experimented with a bit of money and a bit of my time too. So to me, that was a big learning curve. The problem is that honestly, every damn thing in this space looks hot, spicy, like it's gonna get somewhere.
Hot, spicy,
and there's just too much, right? You don't have time. So how do you find the next top shot? How do you curate the information that comes to you and put your time into things that have maximal output? So that's the part of the lesson I didn't learn. I still don't know how to do that. But regret wise, it's not so much regret. I did put in a few $1,000s just to experiment, and that turned into something crazy as well. But didn't go as heavy as I wanted to. But you know, like you make some money, you miss some boats, but there's plenty more. There's so much more going on. Like Matic 80x in that space of the last 8 months. You know, Axie Infinity's gone on a massive bull run. Mystic Axes or Land has gone crazy. Who knows what's going to pick up in some new industry, some new collectibles. So I'm always excited about the next space.
Well, hey, Walshy, I know you have a question for him because this is our transition right here. You want to ask that? Yeah, you floated. Sorry.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Thanks. Maddie, you were just mentioning about a couple different metaverse platforms, about crypto voxels and Decentraland. DCL was my introduction into NFTs that weren't Top Shot. In in the early days, I kind of thought that Decentraland was going to be the go-to metaverse, but then as I learned more, my opinions kind of changed. I thought maybe Somnium would be the go-to metaverse. At one time, I thought they would all kind of merge. Do you have any opinions on like where you think the future of the metaverse is going? And do you feel like a multi-million-dollar organization at some time might swoop in and just make the new metaverse, and everything else is just going to be left in the wayside? Like, what are your opinions there?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think there's a long answer. There's a long answer to this, and I personally think the ones that are well funded are the ones that will survive, because a community can take something only far as they're excited about, which is great, but the platform must support that growth. For a platform to support a user base from 5,000 to 50,000 to 100,000 to 1 million, it needs more servers, it needs more Discord members, it needs more people to work on different parts of the product. You need really good funding. So that's why with me, I felt Decentraland had that plus, because they've got the DAO treasury, which is $10 million per month. Per year. That's just for the community to tap into and use for the next 10 years. So they can compete with financially incentivizing creator growth if, say, Facebook would want to compete. At some level, they can compete. But now as a founder, I'm looking at these communities and I'm like, I'm not looking at them to invest into. I'm not looking at them into being like, which one's going to be the best. I'm looking at them to see what community aspects do they have that we can tap into and provide value to, and hopefully they can provide value to us. And with that in mind, I'm realizing that each platform has their own community that is very special. And I think there's a lot of strength in that. So if they just keep growing and then they keep doing their thing, whoever comes this way, they may just stay there and keep building that community because they like that space. They provide their value. They have the Discord. They invest in NFTs together. They may flourish in their own sense. So I think with Facebook coming in, building their own metaverse, or at least saying they would, or anyone else, I think if you don't adapt to this new business model, this new ethics, this new ethos of decentralization to a certain degree, or allowing people to at least own their own data, then you're not going to do too well. Maybe with the masses you will, but long term with the young people coming up and understanding the risks of their digital identities and stuff like that, I think they will look for I'm not going to say Decentraland, but things that are decentralized in nature, where they feel protected. They're smarter internet consumers. They're not just going to go to Facebook and post everything they're doing, or put on a headset that's just scanning all the stuff where they're looking and serving them better ads, right? They're going to go to a place that none of that stuff affects them, I think.
Well said.
That's great.
Do you think, Maddie, that what's the greater challenge here though? Is it building out the metaverse, or is it educating, 3 billion people what the metaverse is, and then onboarding them, and then like having them wrap their head around crypto and all that sort of thing? Because we could have like a fully functioning metaverse right now, and frankly, it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Because to get there, like, you would have to learn what a wallet is. That alone is going to kill, 1.5 billion of those possible. So like I think when the metaverse does emerge, I think it's going to be super organic. And like when I say I think, I'm just like totally shooting the shit here, but like I think it'll probably be super organic. And I think when we look back on history, like the internet and Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 won't be two different things. Like the internet will be crypto when we look back 100 years from now, and I think I just think the bigger challenge is educating people and onboarding people, which is super interesting to segue back into the Metakey, like where you're wanting to actually build out like an educational program, if I'm not mistaken, and like spin up some courses and that sort of thing. And I think that's one of the big hurdles, like almost as big of a hurdles right now in the space as finding good developers is finding good education,
Yeah, I think you're right. It'll happen super organically. And it can still happen super fast. Like, look what Axie Infinity has done. They've literally onboarded hundreds of thousands of players.
100%.
That had no idea what the heck crypto was. That had no idea what the heck NFTs were. Now they're using it, right? Now, the interesting thing I can tell you is that there's a game in Decentraland called Ethermon. I'm sure you guys know.
Shout out to Ethermon, Gods and Chain collab, all that.
Shout out to Ethermon. I'm in touch with Will. Who's on the team of Ethermon, and he was telling me, Maddie, our Discord's blown up. There's all these Filipinos and all these people coming in from the Axie servers experimenting with Ethermon as a play-to-earn game. So what's going to happen, and it looks like this is the trajectory, is people are going to be introduced by their own means and their own methods, whether it be NBA Top Shot, whether it be Axie Infinity. And every now and then, one of these things are going to go mainstream and attract a bunch of new demographic people organically. Those people will come in, understand the space better, just like how we did, look around, and then get more involved. And you can't help but be plugged into the space for years once you're in, right? You're not going to stop at your first game or your first NFT. So I think that's what's happening. It's going to be organic, but it's still going to be super accelerated.
Dope. I have a question for you.
I think that's why I've.
Go ahead, Jer.
Sorry, go on.
You can finish the thought.
I was just gonna say like that's why I think I've landed as like a gaming and NFT analyst at Delphi, because I totally align with that way of thinking, to where I think crypto gaming and play to earn will onboard Trojan horse style the first 1 billion people into crypto, because everybody that's playing Axie right now is learning DeFi at the same time without them even knowing it, and that's something really special.
Yeah, people don't realize how much skills you're learning just being here and experimenting with a small part of the industry, whether it be gaming or making art, collecting art. Like me just buying one piece of art, my first ever piece, was me learning about the whole art industry. There was a big realization that day and that week of how art works, of how communities respond to you purchasing art, how artists respond to you purchasing art, the effect you can have on an artist, what you can do as a collector, how you can improve your investment as a collector. All of those things I learned by just buying one NFT. So I think the learnings of this space that you're doing is immense. And if you compound that over the years, you'll just be like, I don't know, it'll be like Sage level.
That's crazy.
There you go. Yeah.
I wanted to get DeadStock and Walshy's opinion on this. When you see on Twitter in the education aspect, people are shilling. You know what I mean? You have drama sometimes inside Twitter, even though we don't have to hang on that too long. But how you have a voice that people want to listen to, and there's a lot of people on Twitter that are virtue signaling, kind of leading people into like flipping projects over and over. I always talk to the boys like, yeah, we got to get blue chip projects. How you differentiate those voices? Do you not even pay attention to the virtue signaling Twitter follower people who are shilling you a project, and you have you, Maddie, that's always just saying solids, so.
Shoot over to Walshy first, actually.
I mean, this is something that I think that I've mentioned in the past is one of the most important things, in my opinion, whenever you're new in the NFT scene to do, and that's to really vet the people you're following. As much as you want to follow all of these people that have massive followings, who might have 10 CryptoPunks, who you might know has a net worth of tens of millions of dollars, those aren't always the best people to follow, because sometimes there's a hidden agenda, right? I think that it's just all a process that everybody has to go through and learn, hopefully without losing too much money, to just get an eye for red flags, because over time I find those red flags are easier and easier to see. And it's pretty easy to see somebody's intentions over time, especially if you've taken a loss following some of their advice. And my best advice for that is don't take any advice over Twitter. Always have a core group of friends, whether it's in Discord or in your home.
Dude, that's where I get all my advice though, Walsh.
Well, then take that advice and you do this, Young. We talk about things in the Discord. So we kind of help each other filter through things and help each other vet projects. And I think we have a pretty special thing going on with your Discord. And that's my advice. Get a good group of friends to help you vet this stuff. Don't get stuck in an echo chamber. Do your due diligence.
Yeah. I mean, with this type of stuff, I think it's important for me personally that while I like to learn a lot, I mean, I was one of the people that before my Twitter started growing as it is now, I was just following a lot of people just to get the information. And then from there, I would curate it to what was worth it. But I've learned being able to say no to a lot of projects is actually very, very beneficial for me, because it's just one of those things where you know what's going on, and you got your nose to the grindstone and all that stuff, but you don't feel that FOMO. And once you eliminate that, I feel like you see things a whole lot clearer. So like even speaking with today, they came out with the Fortune 500 article, that NFT 50, which, to be quite blunt, I was surprised that even like Maddie wasn't on it, because you know, some of the people that they put on that
Jay-Z
list.
on it, dude. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people out there, you know, Paris Hilton, and it's like they wanted to put, and I get what they wanted to do. They wanted to tier certain names on it and all that stuff. But I mean, there's a ton of people in the space that are providing such immense value, where there's untapped potential at the moment, just like the Metakey. And just even speaking about earlier, we were talking about Top Shot, that you know, a lot of times, what do you know to get into? And it's like, you just got to follow your intuition. I got into Top Shot early because I love basketball, and I didn't get into it to make money. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I get into to make money, but Top Shot, I just got into it because I said, oh, this is probably going to go places. It's very early. Let me throw money at this. And it wasn't even throw money. Like, I legit like it. And obviously there was a boom in January, and now a little lull, which I feel is just a good buying opportunity for people that want to get in. But that's just kind of my take on it. Just follow what you love, and the space is going to build out something for it. But definitely be careful of who you follow, because you know, you should be making your own decisions and always be doing your own research, as they always say.
You want to hammer that home for us, DCL blogger?
You know what's funny? I just want to say it's funny you bring up the Fortune article, because the guy that wrote that reached out to me asking, he's like, oh, Dan from OpenSea and Cooper Trooper mentioned you, Maddie. I'm reaching out to you. Can you provide me a list of NFT people that are influential? And I just put it into another list, and I was like, oh, here's a list that's pretty good. I can probably think of like 100 people. I don't know how many people you want. And he didn't even put me on the list.
Damn, dude.
So
I'll
like,
be salty.
other people.
So salty.
So I was like, what am I? Like,
Not gonna make it.
Am I like the list guy? So I was like,
am I chopped liver to you?
Not gonna make it, man. Not gonna make it. And I messaged him, and then he's like, oh, we still love you, Maddie. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm gonna tweet this DM.
You're gonna have to buy me a beer, dude. You're gonna have to buy my holy moly.
For real, I looked at the list. I jumped in the
good.
list just to look at it, and I swear I was like, oh, like, because today it came out today, and we're gonna be, you know, speaking with you, and you're such a good dude, and what you're doing with the space. And I'm like, let me see where Maddie's at, so we could talk about this later. And I'm looking at the list, and as I'm getting lower, and I'm like, why is he not on here? And then I ended up finding out, based on like what you're saying now, and a couple other people reached out to, and it's like they didn't even put those people, like, they asked them for their opinions, and then they didn't even put on there. And I'm really big on.
Oh, that's crazy.
I like to hear what people say, but I listen to what they do. And so it's just, I'm glad you kind of gave us some insight, because it's not foul, but at the same time, it's like, it just goes to show you how early we are, and they don't even know what they're talking about when they make these lists. So
they don't, man. If you know what's going on in the NFT space, you are one of very, very few people. There's no one, honestly, there's no one that can keep up with the pace of this space anymore. If you're doing research into this space as a news channel, as someone that wants to write an article, 99% of the chance you're going to get it wrong, because you're not going to dig deep enough. So that's opportunity for us and content creators like yourself, Young, to make good content, for me to make good content and stand out to what like bullcrap news or coverage is.
For real, bro. I'm just trying to stay solid, man. I'm not trying to, if I get sponsored videos, if I get ETH from a project, I'm gonna be transparent. And I think that's something you taught us all. You have a lot of sons out there, so you taught us how to be transparent. You taught us how to be real. You know, I always value that about you, bro. And maybe we could play a game of Gods Unchained sometime. I'm pretty good at it. I don't know if you polish your skills up
Let's
on Gods
do it,
Unchained.
man.
Yeah.
Let's
you
do
know,
it.
you mentioned in the Elio trades, when you were speaking with Elliot, you brought up a good point, which I feel like we all keep in mind, but how early it really is, the fact that when these new projects are coming out, it's not even a ton of projects. Like, we know on top of everything, what's coming out, when it's coming out, what time it's dropping, and it's not even at the point where it's like inundating us, where like we really have to make a decision. We can jump into all these projects if we want to. Could you speak on on how early it is, and you know, where that's the kind of stuff, where you kind of see that going with those projects, and maybe if they might die down, and all, like, your opinion on that? Like,
yeah, I think on a macro level, on a macro level, we're very early, because no one knows. There's a lot of moving parts to this space, and no one knows how to put them together to make a product that's valuable to all people involved, from the community or the players to the investors, to even the founding team. So, for example, if you release a PFP project out there and you sell 10,000 of them for 0.08 ETH, that's 800 Ethereum. That's a pretty good amount of money. but you're, if you're serving a community of say 3,000-4,000 people and you're promising utility and you go ahead and do that, you're going to probably run out of that money in about 2 years. So how do you continue funding yourself beyond that without diluting the initial investors, the people that purchased that initial 10,000, and keeping a strong economy? How do you do all these things? Those that are figuring it out are really going exponential. Axie Infinity is one of those, where they've got their collector demographic that collect, the mystics, the origin, etc. They've got their player-based demographic that purchase these Axies that are unlimited mintable, so they can mint, they can breed unlimited amounts. So they've worked out their mechanic. So I think we're so early that there's literally just a handful of projects that have figured it out. But where there's money, there's going to be an industry. That's just how it works. So this industry has shown that you could literally make hundreds of millions or billions as a company, as an IP. So it's just a matter of time until the rest figure it out. And as people, the beauty of this industry is that us as regular people can participate in the economic upside, and obviously the community upside and everything, but the economic upside to all of this stuff, to a very big level, even to a level of a founding team. You could invest in their early PFP items, like what do you call it, CryptoPunks, right? The way they monetize that was send out 9,000 out there in the wild, keep 1,000. Any investor could have bought 500 or 1,000 or bought his own CryptoPunks and grown with the progress of the project. So yeah, I think we're very early in the sense of everyone needs to, the big players need to figure out how to do it. The people that are investing and want to deploy capital into the space need to figure out how to do that. Once they figure that out, that'll accelerate other industries. So yeah, we are just so early.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree.
We are right there, like Jeremy, the Shakespearean always says, right there. We are right there on that chart for sure.
But I think the main
You
point
are
is the
here.
money's still small. The
We're
money
going
is
there.
still so small, like you said, that as long as these teams can keep building out, and then there's going to be a whole bunch more as people find out there's so much untapped potential. I mean, it's just a great thing. I'm just glad I'm here with all of us.
Hey, Maddie, I want to respect your
I'll
time.
tell you what.
Give me, how much time do you have left?
Go for it, man. Anytime. Maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. Jeremy, you had something to say, and then we're going to get, I just want the chat to give me a question for Maddie. I saw a lot of questions that passed me by, so make sure you guys give me the right questions you want to ask Maddie. The last question for the community. But Jeremy, Jeremy, you can ask that.
No, I'd say throw it over to the community, man. We got to give them their moment. We've been jamming with Maddie, so any relevant questions are always good to go,
For sure. Dude, shout out to you aping into those bulls. You went ham in that. Is that like your first PFP? Me and Walshy noticed that, why not go for bulls of the block? Why those? The art style was beautiful to me, so why those though?
I went for them because if you look on their page, and I'm new to PFP projects, right? Bulls on the block, I still haven't looked at. Many of these I still haven't looked at properly, and I think I will. I personally want to get a little bit of everything because I'm realizing this evolution in not just PFP projects, but people releasing NFTs, is that they want to build out this universe with those NFT projects and communities. So I went a bit hard into this because one, it was my first one, and two, I go very hard with investments sometimes. I started off just buying 100 of them, and then I just kind of aped in right at the end of it.
He caught the bug, everybody.
You got that old Maddie in you still, old flipper Maddie.
I do have that old Maddie, man. He comes to the surface every now and then and throws away all the analysis, 3 years of experience out the window, and he just, he's got money, so he spends it.
Pure joy, baby,
But
pure joy.
I went into it because it looked professional. Elliott Trades was going to be part of it, and it was incubated on the super farm, and it's done really, really well. And I thought, what I'm thinking is that these PFP projects are bootstrapped attempts at virally creating a vested community. So we've had that in the CryptoPunk space. We've had that in Axie Infinity every now and then. I mean, that's not a PFP project, but there's a whole massive YouTuber space that no one even knows what PFPs are. So I thought this could be the breakout kind of project into that space where YouTubers and their communities may they may switch on their bulls as their profile pictures and learn about PFPs through that avenue. And then they come with airdrops, and then they're coming up with a Rick and Morty airdrop, and then there's toys involved, and there's a fun stuff to be part of. So yeah, kind of aped in.
Very cool.
Get excited. There's a question from the chat that I gotta get, and then we're gonna go around the floor. Give everyone the final word. But Ronan the Collector, shout out to you. That's my brother Ronan. I love you, bro. If you could give these PFP teams that fall into a massive money one tip for longevity, what would it be, Maddie? Tips for PFP for longevity.
The teams themselves?
Yeah.
Man, longevity. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out with the Metakey. I think there needs to be a way to expand on the number of people within the community. I think eventually, if there's going to be millions and millions of people in the space, and your assets are only 10,000, how the hell would they get involved? How will you survive that beyond a point where there's Axie Infinity, where there's thousands of people that have an Axie now, hundreds of thousands of people? Look how big that community is. Would that community be possible with a 10,000 avatar project, right? So I think you need to find a way to sustain that in a way that doesn't mess with the initial investors, so an economy that continues to stay strong. And I think that's got to do with building insane utility in between drops and doing drops, but showing why they're done and make them quite strategic and analytical. And I don't know, serve your customer, right? Serve your community. Always ask what they want. Reiterate. Do polls. Do experiment with them. Try and unlock them getting involved. And not just copy people, but experiment with technology, so you may unlock something that someone else hasn't, and then suddenly you've got this whole new avenue of value to experiment and explore with. So there's a lot of things, but stay hungry, stay experimental.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, we really appreciate you being here. An honor to have you in the chat. This was a long time coming, and I want to give everyone a chance to speak. I want you to have the last word. Normally, at the end of the show, we channel our inner senseis from our hearts, and we just speak to the community in a way that we, if you want to plug something in, if you want to give some word of advice. So we're gonna start this time differently. We're gonna go with Jeremy first. You got the floor, my brother.
Curveball. So I guess, guys. So I guess what I've been thinking on throughout this conversation is perspective is everything, right? So if you zoom out and see the future, I would imagine Maddie has probably been seeing the future in a new way because he's a new father. So he's probably thinking about the space, thinking what is this going to look like for my daughter? How am I going to pass on my empire, my legacy? And so that's a perspective. We touched upon finding your niche inside of crypto. Fail, and then succeed. And that's been true for me, and it even sounds like Maddie, throughout this conversation. DeadStock, Walshy, you guys have been gurus, and you've been deep in the space, and Young, of course, the Sensei, is holding the reins. So zoom out, find perspective. Perspective is everything. Find your niche and keep plugging away, guys. Never be afraid to fail, because if you fail so many times, eventually you will succeed. So, keep working away.
That's straight guru wisdom, bro. Thank you. DeadStock, you're next, Bo.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna keep it simple. Got two things on my mind that I've been thinking about. Talking about how we were talking about hurdles earlier. A saying that somebody once told to me was, even a kick in the butt pushes you forward. So I take heed to that. There's always a lesson to be learned, and also try to, obviously with the young content, we've got to stay content. I feel positivity mindset is a big thing. And so, I always like to say, I don't have to do something. Try to stay grateful and say I get to do something. So I get to be in the space. I get to chill with my boys. I consider you guys family, get the opportunity to chill with Maddie. And I know it's in the morning and it's evening. And for funny enough, we got Jeremy on the other side of the world. It's, what is it, 1 o'clock for you, bro? In the night, AM. So being in the space, we've met people that we normally wouldn't interact with. So just being very grateful and taking the lumps and learn from them. So that's all I got to say for that right now.
That touched my soul, dude. Holy shit. Walshy, I always appreciate you, my man. So I know you're gonna give us some good alpha here. So
Right on, guys. Wonderful episode. It's been a pleasure, Maddie. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I can't really say it any better than Jeremy and DeadStock already have. Just a big shout out to our viewers. A lot of you guys have been reaching out to us as of late and, you know, just telling us that you enjoyed the show. That means more to me than you know. I love you guys. Please keep tuning in. If at any given time you all run into any problems, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to jump into the dojo and ask some questions, because I know me personally, DeadStock, Jeremy, Young, we'll all answer your questions, just short of giving financial advice. We're not going to give you any advice. We're not going to tell you exactly what you need to do, but maybe we can help clarify some things to make your decision-making process a little bit easier to the best of our abilities. Just be grateful. I know I end most of our episodes with that, with gratitude. That's just how I live my life. Everything's not always sunshine and roses and daffodils and all that good stuff, rainbows. So when times are good like this right now, and you're having the opportunity to engage with a community that's this interesting, that's moving this fast, and it's also providing us with an income in most cases. I don't know how long this is going to last for, so I'm just enjoying it to the fullest and loving every minute of it. So thank you to everybody who's here along on the ride with us.
That hit me, man. That hit me. An arrow, Cupid's arrow. Maddie, you got the floor, bro.
Yeah, guys. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's been a pleasure to be here. Young, I have truly appreciated being here, man. I think this is like one of the most experienced and humbling, not interviews, but YouTube conversations that I've had. It's just been real and organic, and then people just not shilling anything, not plugging anything, just having a chat, very community focused. So whoever's listening to this, I would totally vouch for this content. I hope you know, I don't plug, you know, I think it's my bit of advice would just to be take it slow, take your time. I know it seems like you have to make moves and you have to keep up with the FOMO. The space keeps evolving. What one investment may not be the best investment in a month's time. And you know, just wait till you find something that you really vibe with. Maybe it's the gaming community, maybe it's PFP projects, but you don't have to force yourself to learn certain industries. Just take your time to experiment, start small. I know some people just throw a lot of money at something because I think it's the next big thing. It might be the next big thing. It might not be. And if it's not, then you've kind of, you know, just don't have any money to play around with the next set of cool opportunities that will come to this space. I think the space is going to be here for decades, hopefully centuries. So, you know, take your time, learn the space. 1 year, not 1 year, weeks, months. But after some time, it will click 100%. It will click, and you know, you'll make some good decisions then onwards.
Dude, you're the man. Those words mean a lot to me. We're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop supporting you. Thank you for everything you ever done for the community, everything you've done for this little sensei here. And yeah, I got a clown posse to go to. We're gonna have pizza. We got a pizza party, and you know, I'm late, so I got to make sure I get over there. Also, yeah, guys, I really love you all. Love the community. Make sure you follow DCLBLOGGER on Twitter. Check out DCLBLOGGER on YouTube. He's gonna get a Metakey. I gotta get a Metakey. I feel bad. Yeah, live the dream, eat ice cream, and above all, stay content. Peace. Guys, can you mute your mic? We're gonna go to music, and I'm just gonna say farewell you in the Zoom, Maddie. All right. Peace, guys. Have a good one. Say bye, guys. Peace.